foreign guests, and we had a Ministry of Communications previously. President Ramaphosa then merged the two ministries and appointed our current minister, who was the deputy minister, as the minister. And I've just been told that it's been promulgated that the ministry is now called the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. So it gives you an indication of what the drive is in terms of that ministry. We're very pleased that the minister has taken time off from she told me how busy she was, and I was surprised that she could make it here. So she's flown in from Cape Town, she's had a meeting this morning, she's coming here for a brief meeting with us, and then she's off to the University of Johannesburg for another meeting, and 5 other meetings today, before I think she can think of putting her feet up in the evening. But Minister, welcome, please. And she's very unobtrusive, she sits in the audience like anyone else. And unfortunately, the Minister wouldn't be able to join us for the panel discussions. I asked, she's just too busy for this week.
Thank you, Prof. And ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How are you today? You already tired? We're looking forward to your tea break. You've been here early. My name is STELLA Ndabeni-Abrahams. As I have been introduced, I'm serving as the Minister responsible for communications and digital technologies in South Africa. Firstly, let me thank the organizers of the event for inviting us to this important historic activity in our own country. And I want to tell you that it resonates well with our mantra in the department, as we believe that for us to be effective, we need to coordinate, collaborate, and execute. So we take the three that it goes together. Now having you here as the different people from the different sectors, the academia, private sector, the public servants themselves, and government, really helps us to say, indeed it is possible. As we talk about the fourth industrial revolution that everybody makes mention of, I haven't missed a speech. I follow on Twitter, everybody's talking about the fourth industrial revolution. But one thing that I think we haven't been able to do is to get to say, how safe are we when we participate in those platforms? As we seek to say, this revolution is a different one from the others, because it gives us an opportunity to say, gone are the days that we'll be spectators and consumers in this revolution, but we want to be role players and of course be able to change the norms whilst trying to locate ourselves in the revolution that we're talking about. Every day when we engage with people, as we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, that scares most people that it's here to take our jobs. I always say, ours is to put the person at the center of the technology. Make technology be an enabler for that we want to achieve. But are people able to participate meaningfully and realize that they want to realize out of these technologies if they don't feel safe? That's the question. And if we do know that other people are still reluctant to participate in the cyberspace because of lack of trust, it therefore tells that we have to do something. And that can be left only to the people who produce technologies, but the people who provide information and the applications that are there. And therefore requires us to have a dialogue. As President Ramaphosa established the Presidential Commission on the Fourth Industrial Revolution last year, one of the key things that we said is important for the country to focus on is the safety of our people in cyberspace. And that the importance of creating a dialogue among South Africans, Africans, and the people of the West, because we are just a tiny country in the global world. There's technologies and everything that we're talking about, others are coming from outside, but how do you make sure that we make it a point and responsibility that they then take the South African character, appreciating our challenges in South Africa? I am also very pleased because I've been reliably informed that yesterday there was a great contingent of panelists, and I'm told women were taking the center stage, and I was like, yeah, you got it, girl. But why do I emphasize the need for women and appreciate when they're involved? Because it's, in most cases, men are the ones that are the lead, that are taking the lead in these technologies that we're talking about, and every revolutions that we're talking about, leaving the women behind, which causes, therefore, challenges, because if there is no balance in understanding the usage, the advantages and the disadvantages of participating in the space, it has potential to then cause harm to the work that we try to do as males. Now, in order to create a fair and balanced society, as we seek to build a digital society, it's important that all people are represented, irrespective of race or gender. They have to be part of the dialogue. That is why I said we felt so excited when we were invited. And I want to promise that the following one, probably next year, we will be part of it. God will allow. We will be alive. But I did talk of the need for a dialogue. I then linked that to the Presidential Commission that President Ramaphosa established. Is it enough that we only have the contingent that we have as commissioners, but not having the real people who are doing the work on the ground, being part of the work streams that must drive the narrative and that must influence the policy that government must implement? Because as we talk of policy development, we want to make sure that it's informed, it's realistic, but also it's futuristic. We do not want to be coming up with policies that then they themselves, they disadvantage those that are in the technological space to say, I can't go beyond what I want to say, because these regulations, these policies are hindering my growth and my innovation. So that's why we encourage that everyone must be involved. We may be talking of the Presidential Commission, but the work goes beyond that. We want the nation to talk. President Ramaphosa will be assuming the role of chairship of the AU 2020. One of the critical things that we want him to do is to make sure that he drives the 4IR agenda, of course, country first, but in Africa, because we have realized we now the sexy thing in the world is Africa. Everybody's looking at Africa, everybody suddenly realizes the potential that we have. Of course, it's great to be recognized that we have potential, but it's useless if our people are not going to be meaningful participants in that. Which is why it's important that as we identify our role in the fourth industrial revolution, whilst recognizing the potential that is out there, but you are able to say, we're not doing so just as private sector or government, but our people are behind us and they know exactly how to play the game. We talk of digital transformation, I said earlier, but we don't focus on the threats that are there. Therefore, to have a group of people who are like yourselves coming here to have the discussions, the deliberations, and the outputs that you will have really pleases us as government, because we now say, we can say, we're talking about the three-legged part, whereby you are safe, you participate within the economics, but also the safety of that, and what that becomes a threat, and how do we make sure that we work together in order to eliminate the threats that can hinder the potential that we can all deliver when we're working together in order to realize the economic benefits of the fourth industrial revolution. As the country, of course, you may know that through the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, we have established a cybersecurity framework, which has been adopted by Parliament. We're now in the process of developing the cyber crimes bill. We're experiencing challenges. I want to frank and honest with ourselves. As the team led by Dr. Pillay, I don't see him now, from the department, was working together with the other components, your SSA, your SAPS, your DOD, and then they had to take the bill to Parliament. It took longer. And those that are cyber experts were like, why is Parliament taking this long? Indeed, it took longer because the parliamentarians themselves didn't understand what was contained in the bill. which therefore poses a challenge to yourselves as the people in the space who understand the space to reach out and share information, including educating both the judiciary and the parliamentarians in the space that we operate in. In most cases, we get to be confined in the work that we do, and we forget about those that also have a crucial role to play, and it affects us both positively and negatively. So I want to invite you, Prof. and your team, to say, when we embark on the workshops that are targeting the parliamentarians, so that when they develop the legislations, they will appreciate all this information that you have, and therefore be able to mainstream it across all sectors as they make the laws. But for them to do that, they have to be empowered with knowledge and information. As they move further, we then establish the cybersecurity hub that is housed at the CSIR. Although it's functioning, but it's not at the best that we would like to see it. Of course, there are differences, there's lots of issues that are there, but we still feel that we need to bring everybody on board to say, how do we then make sure that we'll have a responsive cybersecurity hub in South Africa that must talk to everybody, the industry in terms of the telecoms and everyone, and policymakers, whoever that is involved, and the experts that must be able to continuously engage and provide that expert advice so that it can be effective and be responsive to the work that it's supposed to do. We will be meeting as the different ministers, the departments that I mentioned, and as I said, the role of the industry is very crucial. I always say, one thing that defines us outside the learned people is the fact that we don't have to produce our service for us to be elected. People raise their hands depending on how much they like you or they believe in whatever, and then you get it. But we must make laws for learned people. And I always say it is a challenge for people with expertise to make sure that they appreciate their role as influencers, as people who must shape the direction that the countries are taking. Because if the policies and legislations that are developed are not well researched, then something is going to go amiss. So that's why I say it's important that at all times we try to work together for the betterment of our societies and also enhancing the goals and the work that we want to do. Of course, African countries have taken interest in trying to address the issue of cybersecurity, but we haven't done much, as I said. We still lack that coordinated approach of agreeing what is it indeed when we say this is a threat in space. As we talk about all these developments that are happening, as the people that are coding, coming up with everything, have we considered the ethics of the algorithms that are being used? Are they really giving us what we want, taking into context our Africanism, and of course the fact that we are part of the global world, as the president is on his way to the G20 that must be looking into some of the issues. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for inviting us. And of course, as the ANC government, we are looking forward to learning and working with you. I did say this is an opportune time. We have new parliamentarians. It doesn't matter if we were there last time, but it's the new term, so we are there as new parliamentarians. And therefore, if we join hands together to empower each other, I promise you the 6th administration will be different than the others. But it requires us to work together. It requires us to be coordinated. It requires us to have a dialogue and to identify the national interests in the global space. Once you agree on those, then we're able to say, then I can go and play my part, and you go and play your part. And therefore South Africa and the cyber world becomes a better place where all are equal in the cyberspace, irrespective of gender, race, and the geographical areas. And do allow me to say I wish you all the best. I am looking forward to the report. Of course, I know I didn't commission the thing, but the report in terms of it empowering us of the outputs that we have come up with after it. And as I said, we're looking forward to being part of you in the next conference, which I assume is going to be next year. Thank you so much, and allow me to inform you that the ANC government loves you so much.
Minister just to sit for a few seconds in response to her request to be involved next year. Certainly we'll take you up on that offer. And you'll be getting a letter from me in the next week or so inviting you to participate in Thread 2020. I won't waste time on that one. And on the invitation to, and I see all my business colleagues out of here sitting in the crowd. The request by the Minister for us to assist in informing our leaders, our parliamentary leaders, across all party lines, and she didn't mention one party, she talks about Parliament. It's a crucial point. We often hear the complaints. We complain to each other, we talk about it, say, Parliament's taking too long to do this. But if they don't understand, it's going to take long because they keep sending it back for more information, sending it back. If we can perhaps, together with the Minister, work out some kind of schedule where we can meet with parliamentarians, set up a series of workshops. I'm sure I'll get the assistance of companies sitting in over here to help fund something like that, if I'm going to get to do it. And we can make it work. And we can take the Minister up on that offer. And I'm promising you that we will work with you on this. And wait for another next time. Once again, let's give the Minister a hand and thank you very much for staying. We'll take our tea break now and continue with the next session after the tea break. Okay, thank you.